booties for black girl nerds.
Good.
I can I just tell you the amount of guilt I have even running a couple minutes late because I'm thinking about Shark Tank and I'm like, Damon would not be hearing no parts of this if it was Shark Tank because you're my favorite and you don't play any games
No,
on
I
that.
do. I don't mind. And you know what? I'm often, because I have such a busy life, I'm often the one, unfortunately, a little late. It is not a problem at all. Things
Well,
happen.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for allowing us to see this massive entrepreneur have a little fun, step out of the boardroom and step into costume and perform on the Masked Singer. How did you even who I would have thought one of the sharks in the costume on the Masked Singer? How was this even proposed to you? Because I know it had to be right given who you were, the proposal and everything.
We have a lot of trust for the casting director for there because Dina works on, has been casting for Dancing with the Stars for so many years. And she's actually like an extended family member because Robert was on there, Barbara was on there, and Mark was on there. So her, knowing that they were going to do the right thing and allowing me to just be me, it was all up to me. I knew they weren't going to do anything that out of the ordinary, and then it was great. My staff and all of us, we discussed it. If it fit into my schedule, I always love being vulnerable. I'm often the one pitching. As being an entrepreneur, you have to be vulnerable. A lot of people just see us in that kind of position of power, but we're always pitching, and I love challenging myself.
Mhm. I love the play on words that you were the fortune teller, but not in the sense that people think. So it was a real wowzer when I got to see who was underneath the costume. Did you know do they give you choices of costumes that you want to be, or do they, when they bring you, is there already a visual of who you're going to be and all that's left is to choose the songs?
They had it already thought out, but I also I couldn't object. I thought it was a very well thought out, very smart choice. And I've been telling this, any man over 50 years old reserves the right to do the robot at any given time. And so they told me I can do the robot as much as I'd like, and I held them to that. So being the fortune teller, obviously, I'm your uncle. I got to do the robot at the barbecue, so now I can do it in front of millions of people.
See, now you have to do the robot. You've got to wear the harachis too when you barbecue because it's not a real barbecue without the harachis.
That's true.
When you agreed to do this show, did you have songs in mind that you wanted to do? I know they provide you guys with a list of songs that are clear, but what did you have in mind initially that you wanted to sing? What's your go-to?
I had some of my favorite. Well, first of all, I love the Jeffersons, but there's one thing of me singing casually around the house, like all of us, right? And then there's when you have to listen to a song, and the in the Jeffersons. I mean, if you really listen to it, it is almost like a church group, and they are like going there, and I'm like, I can't do that. So I wanted simple ones. It's time to start the music. It's time to get it right, like the Muppets and stuff like that. But they kept going back to that, and then as I really started to sing it, I cannot sing, so I want America to know that it was the singing coach that gave me those 15 lines that I had to keep concentrating on, that I was able to mimic that. And it became easier, and I got more comfortable. And then I can hide behind a mask. You wouldn't even know who I am. So even if I messed up, I only have that 30 seconds or 60 seconds of being totally embarrassed. But more importantly, I embarrassed my daughters. So it's all good.
When you wear a mask even as a non-singer, is there still that same fear factor of getting out in front of the people, even though you can hide who you are behind a mask?
No, I love wearing masks, and especially one of the benefits that came out of this world we're in, as somebody who's a public person, I could wear masks all the time, and I can have that disguise when I walk into places and just be a person like everybody else. So I know how it is. So I really embrace being behind masks and things of that nature, because I can just be, whether it's vulnerable on the Masked Singer, or whether it's just somebody who wants to be able to be in the crowd and hang out.
Who's going to give you the most grief when you go back over to Shark Tank? Who you think's going to give you the most grief?
The Sharks, it's funny. We're a really tight family, and we will beat each other up, beat each other else, beat up everybody else on the show, but we will not allow anybody else to talk about us. But we're brutal. Um, who would give me the most grief would probably be Barbara, but at the same time, Barbara will give me the most kudos. She has no filter. But at the end of the day, my sharks they've all pinged me, and they all were super, super, super supportive, and it was fun. And I recommended to all of them, you need to do this show.
Oh, that would be a fun show indeed. One of your castmates already has done his turn around the ballroom, so you never know. It
Yep.
could be a good move.
Three of them.
Oh, that's
Remember,
right. That's right.
Mark, Robert, and Robert. Yeah.
That's awesome. And for those who are colleagues of yours or just peers in the entertainment industry, if they were approached by the Masked Singer to be a contestant on there, what advice would you give them to going into that experience?
Use your strength. As I looked at it, I'm not a professional singer. I'm not a singer, period. So I knew that going in there, that eventually, no matter how much I did, I would come up against somebody who had all the elements of being an entertainer. So what did I know? As a public speaker, I know how to work a stage. As I already shared with you, I got a couple of little moves that I have, and to have as much fun. Yeah, exactly. Have as much fun as possible, and don't stress it, and don't overanalyze it. Just have fun and whatever you do best. Because at the end of the day, it's show business, but it's show first, and you have to entertain, and that's it, and just have a good time.
So is the John family going to be doing karaoke this Thanksgiving?
No, but I'm going to just every day. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, birthday party, barbecue, Labor Day. I don't care. I'm going to sing that song, and people are going to be absolutely disgusted after a couple of holidays.
I
They're
love
going to
that.
say it's
So
over. I'm going to be like Al Bundy. Yo, remember me?
I made
Masked
4
Singer.
touchdowns at Polk High.
Yeah.
I was on the
Masked
Masked Singer.
Season
Well,
8, 3 minutes and 37 seconds in. That was me.
Okay, well then see, now I have my new Shark Tank pitch. I'm going to come on there and pitch that I need to be your agent to pitch you out to these parties and bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and I'm going to book you for these gigs.
Done. And as we all know, the bottom line, I don't want to have a spoiler if anybody didn't watch the show, but I was clearly robbed by somebody with a horrible voice named the Harp. I'm demanding a recount, but we'll get back to that later.
We'll get back to it. Well, I thank you so much. I enjoyed you. I love that it was you. And I love when people step out of their usual comfort zone and do something new, because that's where the real growth is at. And I thought you were wonderful.
Right. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so supportive.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, take care.
Thank you for your time. I just enjoyed all of you being back together, and well, you're together anyway, but being together on the Masked Singer, and it's really, really fun to watch it. Christopher, beginning with you, Masked Singer is a juggernaut of a show. It's very, very entertaining, and it allows you to sort of live out these singing ambitions, whether you're a singer or not, in total anonymity. So what was appealing about
not
that
really
part?
not ultimately it's not anonymity,
Temporary anonymity,
right? It's just
Temporary, like that.
sort of a the appearance of anonymity for a moment. So I'm sorry, so what was it like for me, a reluctant performer?
So do you have the same sense of dread? So you said, it's not like getting up and do karaoke at a wedding. You still can hide behind the costume for a certain extent. So do you still have the same kind of foreboding to go out there and sing, even when you get to conceal who you are?
Absolutely. It's not just that you're in front of an audience, but you're part of a group. It's not just living up to your own expectations that you have none of. It's not something I aspire to, and it's not something that I entirely have fun with, perhaps because of the way that, it's intersected my life at times before I was ready to embrace it, and as a result, I have some baggage that is tied to music and performing that I just, have to get over. It doesn't mean, though, if I've gotten over it, that I'm any better at it. And there's other things that I feel more accomplished in being able to attack. Music not being one of them, but music revolves around us repeatedly. And I've explained in the past, I'm less fragile now as an adult, but at the same time, it's just, not something that I mean, I wouldn't enjoy at all going to a karaoke bar. I mean, either going to one to listen or going up. So that's something, I wouldn't participate in. And this is not something I didn't aspire to it, and I never expected to be on The Masked Singer. But when the opportunity presented itself in the way that it presented itself, yeah, I didn't have to say yes, but I did say yes, and I'm glad that I did.
I am too. I'm glad that you all said yes, because in The Masked Singer, it has its fun, but we don't get the opportunity often to see a trio of performers do things together. So we got to see something new. We got to see we find out that it's favorites of ours performing underneath those costumes. So for you, Barry, what is the key when you are on The Masked Singer? Usually it's an individual, maybe a duo at most, but now there's three of you trying to coordinate this and be in secret and remember the routine. What's the key of execution doing it this way with a group?
There's a long history here, so we know each other's cues, and we work together and have worked together our entire lives. So that feels kind of comfortable. The challenges were more with the costumes themselves, because limited vision and mic placement and trying to get a good clean sound out. But to me, having my Brady mates here, my Brady brothers here, was not a complication. It was kind of an addition, and so the goal here, we were encouraged. It's the Masked Singer is going through a little bit of a transformation anyway. It was really a truly competitive singing show for a while, and now they really encourage everyone to have as much fun as they can and to enjoy the moment. And I got focused on that, and as soon as we felt comfortable with which foot where on what lyric and what the melodies were and who had the harmonies, we had a great time.
I enjoyed watching you all. Michael, when you agree to do a show, they give you a list of songs, obviously, to choose from, clearances and all that kind of stuff. But did you have a song in mind, like, this would be kind of fun for us to do together? Did you have your own thoughts of a song selection outside of what they provided you?
The songs that came to us as recommendations, some of which some I would have chosen, and myself, and but there were more than the one, obviously, that we that we ended up ultimately doing, and we had to learn all of them, because it hadn't been decided yet. We did this a week. We did this for about a little over a week virtually, and then we had a week in LA to rehearse and get the wardrobe right and do the show. So the songs that came to me from other sources, I just accepted, and I was very happy to do the theme from the Monkees, because I am an old, keyword old, Monkees fan. I used to watch the Monkees TV show when it was on, and I was, they're older than me. I was just a little child, 8 or 9 years old. I used to have my family. I used to put on a record and come out through the doorway and dance and lip sync to the Monkees songs. That explains a lot, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. I used to watch it too. I'm not so young either, so I used to watch it too.
Nice.
I think it was a perfect choice for me. I mean, nothing, it was simple. Nothing is simple for me with music, but when it gets complicated, forget it completely. It's funny what Barry says is like, the complication began with the suit. The simplicity started because of the suit for me, because I had no expectations of the singing anyway. So what was it going to really screw up? But it lent an attitude, it lent a persona. And the song is so juxtaposed to this mummy thing, dragging through life or new life, a song that is so exuberant and happy, and like Mike said, familiar as well. So and that the show isn't essentially a competition show anymore. It's a part fun was able by virtue of song.
You can see before the unmasking, you can see that since we're not a solo act, there's three of us, that if I wanted to see where Barry was in relation to me on the stage, I couldn't, in order to see where Barry was, to line up and to make things, look good, you had to go like this.
Very mummy-like.
And yeah, so it worked out for the theme of the costume. And our costumes weren't nearly as restrictive as some people's. Some people, like Harp, for example, she has to have two guys, one guy on either side of her, just to move from point A to point B. And
Daymond's in a box.
Even with all the restrictions and the limitations that the mask and the costume put on us, it was a thrill. It was a challenge, and it was great. And they weren't done. They're not done with those costumes until just before the dress rehearsal. They're still gluing the bling on till the last minute before they put the thing on your head. And it's like, okay, off you go. It's like, well, I can't see anymore. Now what am I supposed to do? Just go with it. And we did.
All of those choices that are coming in, that lead up to the actual performance, is part of a wonderful part of the creative, where we were encouraged to, we chose which of the mummy costumes we wanted. We were asked to contribute to the songs, and having a theme kind of, puts it into a place where you can focus in. We talked about Bonanza because of the brothers, talked about the Friends theme song because Friends. We had talked about Cheers, and Cheers because, again, it's Everybody Knows Your Name, that kind of thing from that. So there were a number of things that, and then it just kind of, maybe the rights weren't available here, or it's too expensive, or it not as quite as appropriate, or maybe it was too challenging vocally, whatever. Things begin to far away. And that's when, hey, we're the mummies, rose up.
You might still see some of those other songs that Barry mentions if you tune in. The theme from Friends is one of the ones that we learned, like performance level rehearsal, but that one ended up not being used.
I love the idea of TV theme shows because, everything is streaming. But if you probably think about what the top worldwide songs that are known, that lots of people can sing before the internet days, theme songs, I could sing the Brady Bunch theme right now. I could sing Different Strokes and Good Times and all of these show songs from this era. And it's a really important part of kind of music history, gets tied in with TV, but really, I bet most people can sing Thank You for Being a Friend. Just all of these great songs that are part of the lineage that I don't think gets its credit. So I like you guys' song choice. I thought it was really fun. Going back over to you, Christopher, for somebody, a colleague or a peer of yours in the industry who might be on the fence about agreeing to do the Masked Singer, what advice would you give them? If you could do it all over again, would you do it the same way? How would you encourage the next person to be a participant?
That should be, I'd be the last person to encourage anyone. When the fright that I have it borders on a phobia, I mean, it's debilitating. And as much as people might want to say to you, that you should do it. Get over your phobia. It's just not that simple. So I wouldn't dare to try to convince someone who has a phobia like maybe I do to do it. But if you're presented the opportunity to do it in group and you have others you trust that support you as part of them and embrace you and drag your ass through it, do it. Have some fun. But even if you don't have a phobia, and then absolutely just have a ball. Just have a ball.
Well, I thank you for that. We had a ball watching you. Congratulations to all of you. It was a lot of fun. Way to step out of your comfort zone. That was really, really awesome. And I thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, all.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.